welcome to Nectar Knitty Chats episode 7. This is my cat Aria. I guess she was kind of taking a look at herself for a minute. This is a podcast video diary that I do, just documenting my different projects, what I'm working on, what I've finished, what I'm planning on working on, and I appreciate you for being here. So this is my first episode in a couple weeks. I was recently traveling and I had pretty much no service, so there was definitely no filming happening there, but I'm happy to be back. I've finished a few projects since then. It's been, my travel knitting was a little bit, my knitting has been a little slowed down recently just because it's been a busy summer, but I'm not complaining. It's been nice to travel a bit and see friends, so anyway, welcome. I'm Nectar Knitty Chats here. I'm Nectar Knits on Instagram, and then Brie, B-R-I-E period, Callahan on Ravelry. I've been trying to keep that a little bit more updated, and I appreciate you being here. So I guess I'll get started. I think I said my name's Brie. Hello. Yeah, so I guess I'll start with what I'm wearing. So I'm wearing my Farfa top by the Knit Purl Girl. This was a test knit that I completed in, gosh, it feels like forever ago. I think March or April of this year, which I guess was not that long ago, but in my knitting life, it does feel like a long time ago. I love this project. This might be one of my favorite projects that I've ever made. It has like a beautiful I-cord neckline, these really nice sleeves. I learned a new technique, the sewn hem, which is on these kind of fluffy sleeves, as well as on the base of the body of the shirt. It's just really fun. It's really flowy. I love this yarn. So this was made with Sewrella's Silk Sock, which is a base that they only have available in the summer. They actually do have it available in their summer tonals right now. I am pretty much planning on getting it again and either making another Farfa in a like a solid color, or I've been playing with the idea of making the Ellie summer top, which I think I talked about last episode. I'll pop a picture in here, by Rust Knitwear. I did get the pattern, so I'm kind of on the fence. Like, do I make that? Do I make another Farfa? I could get away with a Farfa at work. The Ellie I might be able to, but I would have to wear a sweater, but you know, we'll see. And I love this yarn and definitely planning on getting it again. It's one of my favorites I've ever worked with. This is the Under the Sea colorway that was part of their summer collection last summer, and yeah, I just love it. I highly recommend it. It's silky, it's got a nice sheen to it, but it's got the elasticity of wool. And yeah, I'm just really happy with it. In terms of the pattern, there are some new techniques to it that make it kind of a classic piece. So I learned how to do an applied I-cord on the neckline, the sewn hem, and they are time consuming. I wouldn't necessarily say difficult, but I would say time consuming. And so I would really recommend this pattern. I do think it's kind of an advanced beginner because of those things, but again, I kind of think if you can gauge swatch and you can knit forever in the round, like I think anybody could really do it. Sophie at the Knit Purl Girl is really, really delightful. I've always really enjoyed chatting with her, and I love her patterns, so I definitely recommend it. And this has been my go-to, like, oh, we're gonna do something fun, like let me pop on my Farfa. The other reason I want to knit another one is because while I love this yarn, I would like one that's like a more neutral, because I found in like the beginning of my knitting journey, I was really attracted to like all these beautiful variegated yarns, but then they're really kind of like statement pieces, and I would like to start knitting more staples for my wardrobe. Like I don't have a just like cream cardigan or a gray cardigan or a beige cardigan, which I have some that I bought at the store, but I would like to start doing that. But I'm just so always attracted to the beautiful hand-dyed variegated yarn. But then in terms of wearing them, I don't pull them out as often because I'm like, oh, like this is kind of a lot. Is this gonna go with my jeans? Do I need to buy white jeans? That's the other thing with this. I'm like, I'm wearing jean shorts with it right now, but because it's so blue, I'm like, maybe I should get white jeans to go with it. Are those even a thing anymore? But yeah, so I do want to make another one of these in a neutral because also it's definitely super work appropriate. And I think I would go a size down because I use 3 skeins of the silk sock for this, which is 300 grams, but I just barely cracked into the 3rd skein. I just hardly even touched it, and which will pop up again later. I didn't mind having extra, but the yarn is not inexpensive, and so I think I'll probably get 2 skeins of the summer tonal and make one of these, and then I'll maybe size down because this does have a solid amount of positive ease. I did a little waist shaping on the side, but I think I could pretty easily size down and still be comfortable. It's supposed to be flowy, but again, like I don't mind if it's a little less, so I'm super happy with it. And if I can avoid spending another, because Sewrella's yarn, I really like it, but it is like $32 a skein, which is totally fair for the work that they do, and I think pretty typical for a lot of the hand dyers, but it's kind of expensive when you make a top that's you have to buy 3 skeins. It's like $90 worth of yarn, even though I didn't crack into that 3rd one. So that all being said, highly recommend this pattern. I love wearing this top. I don't think I've worn it yet. I've definitely talked about it on the podcast, but I think this is my first time wearing it. So anyway, so since I last did a video, I was working on one project which I have now finished. I really, really like it. Let me grab it. Drum roll. Get it out of my knitting bag. I have this really cute knitting bag from Fate's Threads that I really like. It has a zipper pouch in the front where I keep all the notions. And it's my Moonset Tee. So, I've been working on this one for a while. It's a fingering weight project. The best part, the neckline, I just love the neckline. We have short I-cord sleeves. I made my sleeves shorter than the pattern called for, just because I didn't want them to be too long, and then I-cord detailing on the bottom. And I made this with a linen blend yarn from Bat and Kill Fibers. I will post a picture of what it looks like on, and I'm super happy with it. I would say I'm a little bit grumpy with myself. Speaking of Sophie from the Knit Purl Girl, she always asks, how cropped is too cropped? I do think this is maybe a smidge too cropped. When I was trying it on while I was on my needles, I was like, oh yeah, this is fine. And it's certainly appropriate, and I can tuck it into shorts, but just barely. And I tuck in a lot of my clothes into like my high-waisted shorts, my high-waisted jeans. And so I am a little bit kicking myself for binding off as early as I did. I think I could have gone even 1 more inch and I probably would have been happy. And I kept checking it. I was like, I feel like this is fine. I feel like this is fine. But the other reason I kind of wish I would have gone a little longer is because I have this much yarn left. And I just like, since this is a wool linen blend, I just have no idea what I could do with this remaining. Maybe I could make like a little headband or something, or a bandana, because I don't have any other yarns that I think would work well with it because of its composition. So I'm considering the idea of pulling out the bind off, which is the I-cord, and knitting it a couple more inches. I don't think it would take that long. I think and then it didn't really grow much during blocking, which I knew it probably wouldn't because of the linen content and how a lot, like it holds its shape really well. But regardless, I'm really happy with it, and I'm happy with the pattern. The pattern was great. She has a lot of videos to help because this neckline, you incorporate the neckline while you're knitting the shoulder and back panels, and then as you go into the front panel, it is a lot of knitting back and forth, but the incorporated neckline, I just love it. I think it looks so nice. Steve calls this my potato sack shirt because it looks like the same material as a potato sack, and I agree. I'm, again, like I said, I'm trying to knit more staples, so I found this at Maryland Sheep and Wool, and they were running really low on it. They were like, nobody wants to buy it anymore because we don't have enough for a sweater quantity. And I was like, perfect, I need it for a shirt. And it ended up, as you can see, being just the right amount for me. So if anything, like, it probably was the perfect amount if I hadn't have bound off so early. But yeah, so I will put a picture of me wearing it, and I just really liked it. This is by Ozetta. This was my first time knitting one of her patterns, and it's drop shoulder, and she has it, I think it's designed for Knitting for Olive's Pure Silk, which I imagine would be lovely. The Farfa top was also designed with Knitting for Olive Pure Silk in mind. I have yet to use it. I've only heard good things. It's not the most expensive option out there, but it's not the least expensive. And Knitting for Olive obviously is based in Denmark, so don't quote me on that. But I did notice there is a shop in Washington State, Shop La Mercari, who I've followed and done like I've done a knit along with them. She carries a lot of Knitting for Olive, and so I would like to try the silk at some point. I think maybe I'll get some for next summer. Maybe I'll catch it on sale. I don't really know if they do sales. But I did get my first ever Knitting for Olive. I got their double soft merino because it was on clearance, and so I've heard only good things about it, but that it pills really badly. So anyway, so I'm looking forward to trying it. I have a sweater quantity of a gray in Knitting for Olive, and I have a pattern in mind, but I might try and swap it out for a cardigan because I need more cardigans in my life. I love sweaters, but I need, just like when I'm sitting in my home office, just something to like put on and just like get all cozy with. So there's a couple cardigans out there that are currently being designed that I'm really excited about, and I'm hopeful that maybe I can test for one of them, which would hopefully, I don't find cardigans to be the most lovely knitting experience because they're knit flat for the most part, except for the sleeves generally. So it's a lot of purling on the back side. But there's a couple patterns out there that I'm really, really interested in. And if I don't test them, then I'll probably make them. So I'm very interested in the first cardigan by Hive Knits. She designed a sweater that has like stockinette body and half fisherman sleeves. My favorite cardigan is half fisherman all around, and so I would love to have that cardigan either to test it or to just make it. And then the Knit Purl girl, Sophie, is working on designing the Pippin cardigan, which is like a really cute cardigan. It's got, I don't know what this stitch is called, but it's got this little, I think she called it sand stitch. and it's just the right amount of texture, but it's still really clean looking and like classic. So I really like that one. And then I also noticed that Rust Knitwear, I have a thing with European designers, I guess, is designing a cardigan that I don't know if it has a name yet, but she's doing it for a design competition, and it's got broken rib and then this really cool ridge line that she made, and then it goes in the stockinette. So I'll post pictures of all of those because I also really like all those designers. I've tested for Sophie and Simone from Rust Knitwear and had really, really good testing experiences. And then for Lizzie Hive Knits, I've not tested for her, but she has a really great knitting podcast, and she the first sweater is just beautiful. I already have yarn for it, so that's definitely one I want to make like ASAP. So that's definitely in my future, but and then part of me is like, well, what if I use the yarn for the cardigan when it comes out? But the yarn I have is like this really pretty like blue green, and I really just want like a cream cardigan, a camel color cardigan, and a gray cardigan. I don't want a black cardigan. I mean, I kind of do, but I don't want to make a black cardigan. My knitters know what's up with black yarn. I've not used it much, but it is a pain. Okay, so that was a little tangent, but anyway, so finished object is my Moonset Tee by Ozetta, with the fiber is a linen wool blend from Bat and Kill Fibers, which I purchased at Maryland Sheep and Wool. I don't think it has a name, but it's fingering weight. I will say it definitely felt almost like more sport weight. My gauge was off, so I sized down. It worked out pretty well. I probably could have even gone 2 sizes down, but I'm happy with the positive ease and the neckline and all that good stuff. So big fan. Definitely recommend Moonset Tee. And she has a sweater or blouse. I forget if it's called the Moonset blouse or sweater or whatever it is. That's really pretty. So I just really like that neckline. I think it's a nice detail, but it's also just kind of clean and classic. So my other finished object, or should I say 2 finished objects, but I haven't woven the ends in yet, are these socks. So I made a pair of socks. So as I've talked about before, I plan to make socks on vacation. I continue to stand by socks being the perfect vacation knit. They're small, they're portable. You can bring just like, I think I brought just my tiny set of shorty needles and like darning needle, and I used nail clippers instead of scissors because I didn't think my scissors were allowed on the plane. And they work up kind of fast. I thought that socks would take a really long time, but they do work up pretty fast. These ones especially, and I'll tell you guys why. So, my partner Steve is so great and so knit-worthy, but he's not a sweater guy. Also, we are not married, and I'm still a little hesitant about making him a sweater because there's just like this old wives' tale called the sweater curse, and the old wives' tale is that if you gift your boyfriend a sweater, then he will break up with you. I don't necessarily prescribe to the curse or the superstition, but also Steve's just like not really a sweater person, so I think I want to make him a sweater because I want to be like, look, I love you so much, here's this thing I made for you. But then he, I think, would wear it because he knows how significant it would be for me, but he just also never wears sweaters in his day-to-day life, so I think he would just wear it because he felt obligated, not because it's something that he is comfortable in. He does wear like sweatshirts and stuff like that, and so I've thought about, there are some patterns out there that are kind of crew necky or like a hoodie, so I think he would probably like a knit hoodie. So maybe I'll do that one day. I've also have aspirations of adapting a cowl pattern. I think it's called the 8-bit cowl by Pacific Northwest Design. Steve is a video game developer, and that cowl has like little Pac-Man and little like symbols from different kind of old school arcadey games. So I have aspirations of adapting that stitch motif to maybe a sweater one day. If I do, I will certainly document it. And then the other challenge with knitting for Steve is that he is about 6'2", and he has very long limbs. So anything I make for him has to be really big. And that includes his feet. He wears like size 13s. So I wanted to make him socks, but I figured that sock wake socks would take an eternity for him. And so instead I was like, you know what, I'll try some DK weight socks. I found this DK weight yarn at Maryland Sheep and Wool. So another local, this is a farm, it's called Feederbrook Farms in Maryland. It's about 45 minutes from where I am. And they had this cool DK weight, and it was called a bio nylon. They said it's a naturally occurring nylon. I didn't look much more into that, and it was DK weight, and I was like, that's perfect. Like, I need a sock yarn for Steve that's going to be kind of durable, and so this was perfect. I got a gray and black. They had a couple different colors, but the black, I don't know if you can tell, it has like these little flecks of blue in it, and then the gray has kind of like little flecks of like gold in it. I don't think it's gonna show up, but you can kind of see, oh here, that'll show up the blue, but then you can kind of see there's some like shine to it. And yeah, I just did the DK vanilla socks by the Crazy Sock Lady. These worked up so fast. I started them like and finished them within less than a week. I think if I had a whole weekend just to knit, I could easily finish a pair of DK socks, especially if they were for my size. For Steve, I think a long weekend would do it, but I could not believe how quickly these moved. So I will definitely be making more of these. I think these might be in my future for gift knits because they're so comfy, they're so squishy. Like, even for me, obviously these are too big, but like they kind of fit me like slipper socks, and for Steve they fit pretty like snug. But yeah, I'm super happy with them. I will say I made a few errors. Silly me. I used the long tail cast on for this one, and it's not very stretchy. I mean, I know on camera it probably looks stretchy, but there's some resistance there. These ones I use the Twisted German cast on, and it's so, I don't know if like it'll show up. So you can see like this one, there's like no resistance. Like you can just stretch it out forever and there's no resistance. This one, you hit resistance like right there. So I did the long tail cast on. Steve was putting it on and I was like, this is no biggie. This fits over his calf, no problem. But the part of his foot, like this part, I know you don't really want to see my foot, but like when he's trying to pull the sock over the ball of his foot at the widest part of the ball of his foot to like the top of his foot, where kind of like above his ankle, it is tight. And so I'm a little worried about that. So I think I'm gonna I just told him to be gentle with it, and it also will probably stretch a little bit over time, but I might just wet block that part of the sock, because I never blocked my other socks because I thought they would get too big, and I don't think I'm gonna block Steve's either because they fit him pretty well, and I'm worried that if I wet block them, they might get too big. So And I don't have sock blockers, so I mean, I guess I can't really block them. I mean, I could pin them, but yeah, so that was the first mistake I made. And then the other mistake I made was on the first sock. I'm really happy with my Kitchener. I think it looks pretty good. It's not perfect, but I've only done Kitchener one other time, so I'm pretty happy with that. And then I don't know what I did on this sock. Like I think my decreases, I decreased in the wrong place. And then my Kitchener, I like, instead of Kitchenering like horizontally on the toe, I Kitchenered like vertically, or sorry, I Kitchenered, I don't know. I did it wrong, but it's kind of fine. It just means there is this like hole right here on the toe, so I just need to sew that up with the end. So that was kind of weird. I don't really know what I did there, but it still works, you know, and it doesn't, it's not the toe otherwise. I mean, it looks fine, but you can kind of tell one is wider than the other. So I think this one I did almost perfectly on the toe, but I messed up the cast on, and then this one I did something wrong on the toe, but it still like works. It just like looks a little bit different when you're wearing them, but Steve said he really likes them. And so DK Vanilla Socks by the Crazy Sock Lady in Feederbook Farms DK Bio Nylon, and kind of like a black and blue and a gray. And then I have, do I have it over here? Yes. I have this much left of the gray and this much left of the blue. So I'm certain I can get another pair out. So I think this will be a Christmas present for Steve, is another pair of socks. And this time, hopefully I will have learned, definitely use twisted German, hold me to it. Twisted German cast on. I know how to do it. I don't know why I didn't do it. I just did long tail and it's too tight. Maybe because that's just my default. But anyway, really happy with those. And then this will look really familiar. I also, in terms of, I guess this is kind of an acquisition, kind of just my current work in progress. I got this new project bag I have. This is really the only project bag I have. I got it a while ago from Fate's Threads. It's got these really lovely hummingbirds on it and this zipper pouch, and it's really big. It's big enough to fit a sweater quantity. It pulls like that. Right now my needles are in there. And I really liked it. Hummingbirds are inspiration for me because my great-grandmother, my grandma Mary, who was the original knitter in my family, she loved hummingbirds. They always came to her porch. She had the hummingbird feeders, and she definitely inspired me to get started with knitting. So I saw that project bag, I think, on Instagram, and I was like, okay, like I need this. And so, yeah. Then I saw recently she was having kind of a clearance sale to move some inventory, and I really wanted a small bag for going on trips or like throwing in my bag or my purse for when I'm out. And so I saw this really cute small project bag, and it has these like little knit hearts on them in rainbow. I love rainbows. I'm also an ally to the LGBTQ plus community, and so I thought, you know, I think this is adorable. I think it's sweet. The inside is lined with like this really pretty rainbow fabric. I'm pretty sure if I wanted to, I could do it inside out, but it might just be a little wonky with the pulls. But anyway, that's from Fate's Threads. I'll link the story, link their stuff. But I am working on, this might be visually a lot. Oh, there's my extra pair of needles in there. I have some random stuff in there. I'm working on a camisole. And what are you doing, Aria? Hey, stop that. She's like messing with my camera. Bless you. I'm working on a cami, ta-da, in the same yarn. So like I said, I had a whole skein left over pretty much. Like I had skeined it up, I think, for pretty much just the sleeves. I barely used any of it. So I am making the Svila camisole, or Svila camisole by Kaidri. It is a pretty simple cami. It's top down. It has this really nice lifted and crease detail on both the cups, and then on the back it has smaller ones, like you can see like a little bit there. So that's a double increase. I've done it before on my latte sweater, so I was familiar with the process. And I'm using this silk sock and I'm obsessed. I had another silk blend yarn that I was going to use for this pattern, and then I was like, I already have this skeined up, why wouldn't I? And I just love this yarn. I love this colorway. Wow, talk about like visual stimulation. And so I have now reached the part where I am just knitting in the round forever. So I actually might knit in the round while I'm on camera. I could do like a sip and knit as well. So I really enjoyed working on this project, and now I'm on the stockinette forever part, which I've learned my lesson from the Moonset, and I'm pretty much, I think, gonna knit until this is gone, because I don't know, I have so many like itty bitty scraps that I just don't really know what to do with. And again, the content of this yarn, since it's silk and wool, please stop that, thank you. Are you just scratching the couch? Because it's silk and wool, I don't have a lot of yarn that is silk and wool, and also this colorway has so much going on, it doesn't necessarily go with anything else. So I think I might just use pretty much as I can, as long as it doesn't get too long, which I don't think it will. And again, it's kind of like I almost would rather something be a smidge too long, because I can always tuck it in, than too short, because I do mostly wear stuff tucked in. I think it's just more flattering. So anyway, that's so this is my current work in progress. And like I said, it's in the place where I can just mindlessly knit on it, which is great, but it does mean this is the time where my brain starts thinking, okay, what am I gonna pick up next? You know, because I'm like not thinking at all while I'm knitting. So, and I kind of love the early stages of the project where you're doing the increases and it's a little bit more complex. So, and I've been doing a lot of straight stockinette because the socks were straight stockinette. The Moonset, once you got past the collar, is straight stockinette, and now this is straight stockinette. And I literally can't remember what I was doing before that, because it does feel, I guess I was doing the Fernwood Bolero, which was flat stockinette, which is, I will take in the round stockinette for sure. But yeah, so I guess that kind of leads me to what do I think I'm gonna work on next. So summer is for me is basically Christmas 2.0, because all of my family and my partner are summer babies, and some of my closest friends. And so I do a lot of gifts in the summer. My partner, my brother, my sister-in-law, both my parents, my sister, and one of my closest friends are all born in the summer. I feel like I'm missing people, but basically, yeah, my whole family plus Steve plus my friend. Like, so I do a lot of gifts in the summer. So because I'm a knitter and I'm not very creative, I was like, hey, I will make you guys something for your birthday. So for my mom, I have caught in the bug, and I have purchased the ranunculus by, I think, Midori High Rose to make. And so my mom, I was between that and the Promenade blouse by Kadri. I gave her the option, and she preferred the sleeves of the Promenade because they're longer versus the short sleeves of the ranunculus. I was hoping she'd pick the ranunculus because of the short sleeves. That being said, it's got, the gauge is kind of loose, and so I think it'll work up pretty quickly. And so I sent my mom the link to, I'm hoping to use Cascade 220 because the pattern calls for worsted or lace or fingering, and so I think you can kind of get away with anything between lace and worsted. So I've been wanting to try Cascade 220. I've used Cascade yarns before and had good experiences, so I sent her the link to that, and there's tons of colors, so she's just kind of waiting. So I will be getting that yarn for her as her present, and then the labor is gonna kind of, I'm thinking might be her Christmas present. I don't know, we'll see. And then my dad wants a sweater, so I just purchased, what did I purchase? I got him some yarn from Knit Picks because they were having a sale, and I knew I was gonna need a large quantity of yarn for my dad because he's pretty tall and he wanted a zipper sweater. So I have ordered the yarn for the zipper sweater Man by Petite Knit. I ordered Knit Picks. Oh goodness, what is it? I can't look it up because I would look it up on my phone, but it is made in a bulky yarn. The pattern calls for, I think, like 2 yarns held together or 1 yarn, but anyway, so I got a Knit Picks bulky yarn. I'll put it in the, I'll link it in the chat, or sorry, in the description, because I cannot remember off the top of my head. I've never used any of Knit Picks yarn before. I've heard like good things that, like, you know, I've thought about picking up Knit Picks palette before because I know it has a really good color range, and I've heard good things about it. So that's kind of, you know, what I'm gonna do is I ordered the yarn for my dad, even with it being on sale, because I think because of the sweater's size and my dad's size, it ended up still being like a significant amount of money for yarn. But I'm glad I went with a more budget-friendly brand, because I think if he wanted something in like a hand-dyed or luxury yarn, like I would have spent like $200 on yarn, which would have been insane. So that's for my dad. And then the other thing I haven't done recently is Aquisitions. I haven't really cut down on my fiber purchases really since I, you know, got a bunch in England and I got a bunch at Maryland Sheep and Wool. So I really haven't had that much. I honestly don't remember if I ever showed this one, but a while ago Sewrella did their greatest hits, and they brought back some of their yarns that were most popular, and I only had started following them somewhat recently, so there were some of the collections I'd never even heard of, and they brought back this colorway called Reflecting Light. I can take it out of its bag. I got it in sport weight. I want to make the Great Gingham Raglan by Jessie May. So this yarn is special to me for multiple reasons. One, I think it's really beautiful. And 2, I love Gilmore Girls. It's one of my favorite shows. I grew up watching it with my closest friends. I just really love it. It's kind of like a warm hug for me. And so Reflecting Light is a song that plays during a really pivotal moment in the show. And every time I hear that song, I cry, like for real. So I couldn't afford a sweater quantity. So I'm going to pair this with probably a Cascade yarn to make the Great Gingham Raglan. And this will be the contrasting color. So then I'm thinking for the, I'm thinking either like a blue or a cream to be the solid color. I haven't totally figured it out because this has like cream and blue and pink. So yeah, but I'm really excited about it. So that is Sewrella. I have a Sewrella problem, I'm not gonna lie. Hey, Bree here. I just want to apologize because I didn't realize how long Aria was playing with her toy. So, yeah, you're gonna hear it a lot in the next couple minutes. And I apologize, but I'm just not gonna re-record because it's a lot of work. So thanks for your patience. That tinkling bell is Aria. Really like their work. So, and then I'm a sucker for like a pop culture thing that I relate to. And then this is another one I got from my local yarn shop that I'm really excited about. I have had my eye on this yarn now for like since the first day I ever walked into Lovely Yarns. It's a blown yarn. It's called Amelie, and it's by Ilimani, which is, it looks like, so it's made in Peru. I'm not sure where the company is based. With a name like Amelie, it makes me think France, but I'm just not sure. I would have to look it up. But here's the little tag. And it is a 50% mulberry silk, 40% baby alpaca, and then, well, 56 mulberry silk, 40% baby alpaca, and 4% merino wool. It is so soft, I cannot even describe. I love it. I'm really excited to use it. I bought this for the home sweater V-neck by Kadri. I made one for my mom, and giving it away was so hard. And I've been wanting to make one for myself, and this is this really beautiful kind of, it reminds me of a snow leopard. It's like gray and white and a little bit speckled, and so I got a sweater quantity of this when it was on sale from Lovely Yarns, and I'm so glad I did. I'm just really excited. So I think this will be a winter project for me. I'd love to have this done for, I don't know, like Christmas or something. And I'm just really excited, but it's like a oversized V-neck project. So I'm really excited for that. But those are my acquisitions. I have a sock set coming in the mail from Red Door Yarn called Kyoshi Warrior, which is a reference to Avatar. Another one, she did a greatest hits collection, and I just wasn't around when she did her Avatar collection. And so I knew I love these variegated yarns, but I want to step away from them for garments for a bit. And so I was like, hey, like I can do a sock set, and I've been really enjoying making socks on trips. I'm planning on going to the beach next week with my family, so I think I'll bring this as well, this like my cami, as well as a sock set, and we'll see what I come out with. I find when I'm traveling, I don't have a ton of knitting time, and I have a long drive ahead of me. It's at moments like that where I wish I'm gonna be going, I think, by myself. So, because my family's already down there, so I won't have knitting time, and it's like 7 hours each way. I'm like, oh, that's 14 hours of knitting time gone. I just need to grow 2 more arms, and then I'll be good to go. But yeah, so I'm really excited, and my parents will be going to my parents' beach house, or I'll be going to my parents' beach house, and this is called Under the Sea, so it feels very fitting. Well, that's kind of my knitting life. I recently returned from California. I was there for a week. Steve and I went to Yosemite and then wine country to celebrate a friend's wedding. It was amazing. I can pop in some photographs and video and stuff here to talk about it, but I had a hard week leading up to the trip, and it ended up being just what I needed. And Yosemite, gosh, I can't even describe, like, just, you drive in, and also I apologize, Aria's been playing with her toy, so the sound is probably annoying, but it's just so unbelievably beautiful. I've never seen anything like it, and everywhere you look is so stunning. And we got to see the sequoia grove while we were there, which unfortunately a few days after we left was impacted by a wildfire. Everything seems to be okay. And the sequoias are still, apparently they're pretty fire resistant, which is good, and they do controlled burns there, but it was kind of crazy. Just since I live on the East Coast, wildfires aren't really a threat to me, you know, but in California, it felt very much like it felt very present. You could just see where burns had happened and how dry it was, and they're experiencing a drought, which it kind of feels like they're always experiencing a drought. And so it did make me think a lot about, you know, the abundance of water and privilege that I have on the East Coast, and how green it is over here, because we were there, and even though we were in Northern California, it just was like dry, but it was really beautiful. The wedding we went to was great. We got to spend time with some friends of mine that I grew up with, and we haven't all been together in so long, so it just was really lovely and filled my cup. And then I got home and I was really sick. Not coronavirus, it was just a really bad summer cold, I guess. And so I didn't get a lot of knitting done during that period of time either, because I just felt so crappy. But I am now back into it and just dreaming of my next cast on already. So I'm excited for what the future holds. I did a make 9 at one point, so maybe on my next episode I'll review my progress on that, because I don't think it's been great. I think it's tough because I just get kind of drawn to new projects or old projects or a particular fiber. And so I think, you know, I've done some of the projects, but I've not done a lot of them. So anyway, well, I appreciate you for sticking with me. I hope you're having a safe and cool, now towards the end of July, and I will chat with you soon.